Today on the agenda, I'm going to be doing another quiz from the W3 Schools website. This quiz will be related to SQL, so the language that is used to query databases, whether you're selecting data, creating data, updating data, or deleting data. I'm not sure if this quiz has anything related to stored procedures, but that may be in there too. And well, we're just going to run through this quiz. My name is Kenny, and this is Tech Talk with RHT Services, where I talk about web development, software development, and all kinds of things related to tech. Let's go ahead and get into the quiz. All right, so I already have the quiz pulled up, and the first question on the quiz is, what does SQL stand for? Now, you're probably not going to ever get to answer this question outside of a classroom or an interview, but it does stand for Structured Query Language. Which SQL statement is used to extract data from a database? That would be a select statement. Which SQL statement is used to update data in a database? It would be update. Save, save as are file operations, and I'm not aware of any languages that use modify to make changes to anything or update. Which SQL statement is used to delete data from a database? That would be delete. I kind of give the answer to this question in the question itself. Which SQL statement is used to insert new data into a database? We're going to do insert into, insert new. That one can be very tricky of a question, but tricky of an answer, but that answer is insert to. At least I think that's what it is. Let's continue. With SQL, how do you select a column named first name from a table named persons? So it'd be select and the column name from and then the table name. So it'd be this one. With SQL, how do you select all columns from a table named persons? So you do select star or asterisk, depending on who you ask, from persons. With SQL, how do you select all the records from a table named persons where the value of the column first name is Peter? So from the previous question, we know that select star from persons would be how you select, and then we want to find where the name is Peter, so that would be this one. Now in SQL Server, the less than, greater than next to each other like this means not. So it'd be it's the equivalent of exclamation point equals to. So definitely not this one, and we know those two are not the case. With SQL, how do you select all the records from a table named persons where the value of the column first name starts with an A, and that is lowercase a? So you want to use a like operation because you don't know the full value, but you do know the beginning value. So it will be this one here because the percent sign in SQL is a wildcard. The OR operator displays a record of any conditions that are listed true. The AND operator displays a record if all of the conditions are listed true, and that is true. With SQL, how do you select all the records from a table named persons where the first name is Peter and the last name is Jackson? I don't know any Peter Jacksons. Do you know of any Peter Jacksons? Comment down below if you know of a Peter Jackson. All right, so we know select star is how you get all the records, and then our condition kind of builds off a previous question, and we're just adding the last name of Jackson here to the where clause. With SQL, how do you select all the records from a table named persons where the last name is alphabetically between and including Hansen and Pedersen, because Peter only has one T, so Pedersen. All right, so we're going to do select star because we know that is that. And we're going to do last name between. I feel like this is, so last name is greater than. I feel like this would be it. I also feel like this is a trick question because I feel like this may work as well. Because you're essentially defining where last name is greater than Hansen and last name is less than Peterson, but is alphabetically between and including. Okay, so that's the trick part of this question here. So and including. So this would not include Hansen and Pedersen. This one would include Hansen and Pedersen. So we'll go with that one. Which SQL statement is used to return only different values? That would be distinct. So you want to return the unique. Oh, is that right? Yeah, different values. So you want the distinct values, I believe, is what it's asking. So we'll go with that one. Which SQL keyword is used to store the result set? Sort the result set. And that would be order by. With SQL, how can you return all the records from a table named person sorted descending by first name? So we want to select star order by first name descending. It will be this one. Go to next. With SQL, how can you insert a new record into the person's table? So we'll insert into, because we already discussed this on the previous question. So insert into, and the other two options here do not start with insert into. So we know that this one is the correct one. With SQL, how can you insert Olsen as the last name in the person table? So insert into persons, and then you give the values. So the last one will be the answer. How can you change Hansen into Nielsen in the last name column in the persons table? So you want to update set last name Nielsen where last name is Hansen. There we go. With SQL, how can you delete the records where first name is Peter in the persons table? So we want to delete from, and then you specify the table name. So that would be persons. And then you add your conditions of what to delete. So if you don't put the where clause in your delete statements, guess what? It deletes all the rows. With SQL, how can you return the number of rows in the persons table? Select count. We'll do a count of the number of rows in the table. I am not sure of len and no as operators for the select statement. What type is the most common type of join? I think this one depends, but I'm going to say an inner join. I'm not sure what an inside join is. And join table, never heard of that. And joined, obviously that's not a type of join because it's not clear enough. Which operator is used to select values within a range? You can use between. I'm going to say between on this one. The not null constraint enforces a column to not accept null values. That is confusing of a statement, but that is true. The not null constraint enforces a column to not accept null values. Correct. Yeah, so true. Which operator is used to search for a specified pattern in a column? You use like. From specifies the table. Get. I have never used get in a SQL query, so I'm not sure if that is even a valid keyword or not, but I have used like in conjunction with wildcards to find things in a specified column. And the last question, what SQL statement is used to create a database table called customers? Create a database table. Okay, that's a trick question. So you want to, because the database has to already exist before you can create the table. That being said, we want to create table customers, because there's a separate query statement for create database customers. If that was the case, if you wanted to create a customers database, that is. All right, that's the last question. And we got 100% of the questions correct. So just to recap, we know what SQL stands for, structured query language. Got extract, question 2, select, update, how to delete, and so forth. All right. So this is another quiz that you can take, to assess your skills to determine whether you actually know the material that you think you know or you're not certain of. Some people will often ask, hey, I need help with this particular topic, whatever the case. Quizzes like this that we just did here will help you test on these things. So when you get ready to go to an interview, it will, better prepare you. Now, I'm not going to say that this particular quiz will prepare you for any and every type of interview, but it will give you an assessment of how well do you know the basics. At least in my opinion, this is what I think of it. Now, you can practice this quiz multiple times. There are other websites that have similar quizzes that you can do as well that will assess how well, how good or bad you are when it comes to those quizzes. And then based upon that, you can do, take them again, study some more. You get the idea. I would suggest that for those of you that are trying to get into tech, try these quizzes out, particularly the quizzes that are related to the subjects that you're actually going to be or interested in, or more so you're going to want to do. So if you're going to be a web developer, take the HTML quiz, take the CSS quiz, JavaScript, and then whatever backend. So if that is PHP or C# or Java, take that quiz as well to make sure that you're properly prepared for the interview. Now, I'll say this particular set of quizzes doesn't necessarily say, oh, if I get 100%, I am fully prepared. That's not what these quizzes are for. These quizzes are to attest and to assess how well you know things, in particular more so the basics of these things, and give you a indicator of what you should probably need to study more of, and not so much you're an expert or call yourself an expert of these various languages and subjects. That being said, if you have any comments or questions, please leave those down below. I'll be glad to take any suggestions for future tech videos. If you have those, leave those down below. Also, please be sure to subscribe and follow. New videos all the time. Please give me a thumbs up if you've learned something new today. And last but not least, rhtservices.net, where there is more information related to technology and more. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.